If you don't listen to this entire video or screw up the math, that's not on me, okay? Let's start with the basics. The 4% rule. In 1994, William Bengen established what's commonly known as the 4% rule. He analyzed 50% stocks and 50% high-yield treasury bonds over 30 years, and he concluded that if you withdraw up to 4% of your entire portfolio each year, you will essentially not run out of money for at least 30 years, irrespective of the market conditions. Were you paying attention? Bengen created this rule in 1994. Do you think the world's the same today? The 4% rule assumes a 10.3% stock return and a 5.2% bond return and a 3% inflation rate. Now, my portfolio could be more bonds or badly picked stocks, or the world could have a pandemic that generates low returns and causes high inflation. Well, that last one's never going to happen, right? All of that could mean that following the 4% rule could deplete your savings much faster. And we're trying to pursue FIRE, aren't we? So we are planning for retirements that are hopefully longer than 30 years. These results are also based on the US stock market and may not reflect your country's growth or inflation. On top of all of this, like you may have heard, past performance does not guarantee future results. Think about it. We're trying to sustain a constant cash flow out of a volatile investment, which is very risky, especially if stocks underperform and is a fundamentally flawed concept. So take it with a grain of salt, pepper, and garlic powder, okay? The 4% rule is a generally accepted safe withdrawal rate, a decent rule of thumb, and an excellent starting point. So let's talk about how much investment do I really need. Let's assume you'd like to retire on a modest salary of $60,000 annually. So 60 grand has to be a maximum of 4% of your portfolio. That would put your portfolio at a minimum of 60,000 into 100 divided by 4, which is the same as 60,000 into 25, which is 1.5 million. So people also call this the 25 times rule of thumb. But what's a safer number that we should be aiming for? For 30 to 60-year time frames, the 50% stock and 50% bond formula that Bengen used resulted in a much more significant percentage of bankruptcies. With at least 70% stock investments, the safe withdrawal rate is about 3.5%. But real-life math is not that simple. These studies don't consider the taxes and the portfolio management fees you'd have to pay, which could quickly eat into your savings. So a more realistic safe withdrawal rate, based on my research, is around 2.5%. Taking the same $60,000 annual income with a 2.5% withdrawal rate every year needs a nest egg of 2.4 million at least. If you don't want to do all this math, Wealthsimple has this amazing calculator that you can use to get an estimate of what your nest egg should be. It was originally created for Canadians, and it also assumes that you have maxed out your registered savings accounts like your TFSA and RRSP before making unregistered investments. So the amount you'll get will be slightly lower than if you were calculating with the 2.5% safe withdrawal rate. The link is in the description below the like and the subscribe button, so tap those on your way there, all right? The 4% rule, or the Trinity Study as it is called, is an excellent place to start. But your ultimate goal should be to have an extensive enough portfolio from which you can live on about 2.5 to 3% withdrawal. Or you can invest in enough real estate to generate your monthly expenses. But more on that in the next video. Until next time, take care.